everybody, I am Charlie from Dr. Wen, and welcome along to yet another daily Doctor Who YouTube video. Today I'm going to be doing a video similar to yesterday's and rank all episode 9s. Yesterday I ranked episode 8s, and in previous days I have ranked episode 7, 6, 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s and 1s. Today it's going to be episode 9s. These include Sleep No More, Night Terrors, The Empress of Mars, The Satan Pit, Hyde, Cold Blood, The Empty Child, Flatline, Ascension of the Cybermen, It Takes You Away, The Family of Blood, and Forest of the Dead. So I'm going to be separating two-parters for this, only including the first or second part of the two-parter, and overall I think very highly of these. The lowest is actually my least favourite Doctor Who episode ever, at 4.9, but the highest is very high with a 9.5. Anyway, let's get into this video, and I hope you enjoy. Also, feel free to subscribe if you want more daily content like this and turn on notifications. Like this video if you enjoy, and feel free to post your rankings in the comments. Let's get into this video. So in 12th place is Sleep No More, my least favourite Doctor Who episode ever, with a 4.9. This is the only episode of Doctor Who that I would literally say I hate. It's a stupid idea having this eye gunk. They're actually cameras. It's just really weird. I do appreciate a little bit that they tried something different, but it failed hugely and just didn't really work at all. The creature design is passable, but this is filler, extremely bad filler. They just needed another episode in between Zygon 2-parter and Face the Raven. But yeah, they're terrible side characters, and it just didn't really work at all. I did not like this. This is Clara's penultimate story, the one before her death, and I don't think they utilised her character nearly as much as they could have. In 11th place we have Night Terrors from Series 6. I've given this a 6.2 out of 10. Lots of people actually really like this story. I don't really. I think it's arguably one of the most blatantly obvious filler episodes, and it's probably the worst of Series 6B. This is actually in my list of top 10 least favourite Doctor Who stories. The Peg Doll conversion is pretty creepy, I've got to admit. It's one of the scariest stories, but I really hate this setting. It's so cramped and just really annoying. I don't really like it. I'm not sure what quite I like about it, except that it's cramped, but I just really don't like it. The episode isn't very visually pleasing, it doesn't really look that good. But yeah, it's not the best. It's got a pretty weird ending with this boy who's actually an alien called the Tenza, and yes, it's just a pretty weak story, and it didn't really need to exist. In 10th place we have the 12th Doctor Series 10 Ice Warrior story, Empress of Mars. Ice Warriors are more classic Who villains than New Who villains, but they have appeared twice within New Who, in Cold War in Series 7 and Empress of Mars in Series 10. Overall, this is a very forgotten episode. It's not very memorable. Most people kind of seem to forget it exists. Series 10 is really good. This is arguably one of the weakest stories within it. It reminds me of a Base Under Siege story, even though it really isn't. It's just that it's got quite a claustrophobic setting and some aliens who are trying to attack them. The Ice Warriors are very good. I think their creature design has improved dramatically, and it's even more creepy how that kind of bottom part, like that chin in their mouth, are kind of exposed. I thought that makes them look even more creepy. It's not very memorable though, and the whole British colony from Victorian London on Mars is pretty weird, and I don't know, it's just a bit of an odd story, but yeah, I think it's a bit of an underrated gem, and it's kind of forgotten, so I don't think it really deserves that. In 9th place we have The Satan Pit, part 2 of a two-parter in Series 2. I've given this an exact 8 out of 10, just like The Impossible Planet, the first part, and I think it's actually just a tiny bit better than its first part. There's not really much in it, but yeah, I think it's a little bit better. The Beast is an awesome villain. I think it's an incredible design. Not the best CGI, but the writing makes up for it so much. It's absolutely awesome. The Ood are very good creatures. I think they're mainly hostile in this episode, which is why I like them. I prefer them when they're quite evil. The Symbol guy with the red eyes, that's really creepy with the Beast possessing him. I thought that was a really good idea. And overall, it's just a really strong story, and I don't know, I think it's a bit underrated. It's not really talked about enough. Series 2 isn't known for being the best series of New Who, but yeah, I think this is one of the strongest stories within it. In 8th place we have Hyde from Series 7 with an 8.3. This is in Series 7B and it's one of Clara's first few stories, and this is, in my opinion, the most forgotten Doctor Who episode ever. That I hardly hear anyone ever talking about the story, and it's so good. I really love all of this. It's absolutely brilliant. I've only given it an 8.3, but that's because it isn't very memorable, and yeah, I think the plot lines, I think they're trying to do too much. They're trying to do a ghost story, they're trying to do a pocket universe story, they're also trying to do this kind of love story between aliens. It just doesn't really, the clashing plot lines doesn't really work that well. However, it's still, the ghost story set, sort of plot that we've got is still pretty good. I do like the setting as well, this like haunted mansion. I think it's quite a generic concept, but they pulled it off really well. The going back in time to different time periods and taking a picture of the same place, I thought that was actually really good as well. This, yeah, it's really good. It also has creative creature design. Lots of people don't really like that, weird grey creature that we see. I actually really like it. I think it's really good and a cool idea. In 7th place, topping off the bottom section of this list, is Cold Blood, which I've given an 8.6. This is part 2 of a two-parter about the Silurians in New Who. It's in Series 5, and in my opinion, it's really good. Like I said in the previous episode, the Silurian design is approved. I do like the kind of heat rays, and they removed the third eye, which is quite good. They're like more green and they're more scaly than before, and the costumes are much better. It definitely lives up to Doctor Who and the Silurians. I don't think it's quite as good a story as some of the other stories, as some of the other kind of remakes of stories. The negotiation scenes are really good, where Amy and that other person are kind of, negotiating with the Silurians about a plan to get them back to Earth. I thought that was really good. And Rory's death is incredibly sad. He actually dies for the first time in this. I say the first time because Rory dies like 20 times in Series 5, 6 and 7, which might be a bit of an exaggeration, but still, yes, that's actually really emotional, and to be honest, I thought he was gone for good in this, so I was surprised when we saw him again in the Pandora Opens. In 6th place is The Empty Child from Series 1. I've given this an 8.9, and it's really good. This is mainly known for being a horror story, having those gas mask zombies saying, "Are you my mummy?" That was just really creepy. It's also a really good setting in World War II. I think lots of people say it's overused in New Who. I do slightly agree towards the end, but I still really like it, and it's pretty good. Jack Harkness, this is his first appearance, and he's an extremely important character, not just within Doctor Who, but within the Whoniverse, having his own spin-off called Torchwood. That's really good, by the way. And yeah, this is a very memorable episode, and one of the most iconic scenes of all time is the gas mask zombie trying to get into the house. That was just absolutely brilliant, and I really liked it. Starting off the top 5 is Flatline, which I've given a 9.1 out of 10. This episode is extremely underrated. I don't hear enough people talking about this. It's really good. Clara is doing her own thing in this. She's kind of being the Doctor for a change, which is pretty good. Lots of people say she does, she tries to be the Doctor too much, but I think since it's only towards the start of her doing that, I think I let it slide. But I do really like how, she's kind of doing the things that he'd usually do. Riggsy is very good. He's a good side character who also appears in Series 9's Face the Raven. He'll be a very important character later on. Yeah, I think he'd be a brilliant companion. The small TARDIS is quite funny. I did actually really like that. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. And the Boneless are really good villains, having come from a two-dimensional world. I thought that was really good, and kind of those kind of glitching sequences where they're trying to build themselves 3D bodies. I thought that was really good. And yeah, this is just a brilliant episode, and I really like it. In the 4th place we have Ascension of the Cybermen from Series 12. I've given this a 9.2. This is mainly known for being part 1 of a two-parter that isn't very well liked, the Ascension of the Cybermen, the Timeless Children. Personally, I really like both parts. I think this is a little bit better, but I've given them both a 9.2. I think it's overshadowed a bit by the Timeless Children, because loads of people hate this so much, they kind of forget that Ascension even exists. But this does have an incredible cliffhanger with the Master emerging onto that portal, and it's to Gallifrey. I thought that was absolutely brilliant, one of the best cliffhangers of New Who and of Doctor Who as a whole. It's also a really fast-paced and intense episode with, you know, all those Cybermen chasing them, trying to make them explode. I thought that was really good. Those scenes on the ship are really good as well. I really liked it, you know, that scene where there were like millions of Cybermen kind of emerging from those kind of chambers. I thought that was really, really good. Those scenes with Graham and Yaz were really good. I think it developed their characters a lot, and I honestly thought Ryan was going to die in those explosions. I thought it would have been right for his character, since his arc was kind of complete by this story, but he is going to go in Revolution of the Daleks this Christmas, so there we go. In third place, we have It Takes You Away from Series 11. I've given this a 9.4, and a lot of people kind of forget about this. It's the penultimate episode of the series, before Battle of Ranskor Kolos, which I don't really like, to be honest. But yeah, lots of people seem to forget about this as well. Most of Series 11 is kind of forgotten, unless they're bad episodes. That girl is actually really creepy in this, so I think that actually quite scared me a lot, especially with Ryan. I thought she was going to be some sort of alien. Yeah, but this is a really underrated story. I do quite like how we have that kind of world, in like smaller sort of dimension in between these two larger dimensions. I thought that was really good. The whole idea of the Solitract is awesome, but I'm not the keenest on how Grace was turned into a frog. I thought that was a bit weird, and that was actually the Solitract. I was expecting something more epic like the Time Lords, which leads into the finale, but no, we just got this weird frog. Overall though, this is still a really strong story, arguably the best in Series 11. It's just pretty brilliant. In second place, we have The Family of Blood, which I've given a 9.5 out of 10. This is really, really good. I do quite like how they've made the Doctor the most human Doctor, and they've made him even more human, which I didn't think was possible, but we have this story. But this is really, really good. I honestly really like it. I did like that scene where he was on that ship that crashed, and he was pretending to be John Smith, but he was actually back to the Doctor again. I wish we did see that scene where John Smith became the Doctor, though. This also has a really cool battle at that school with all those scarecrows. I thought that was a really good sequence, that entire thing. This also has a brilliant performance from the 10th Doctor, like almost breaking down because everyone was expecting him to become this Time Lord. I thought that was a really, really good performance from him. And the ways he trapped all those Family of Blood members at the end was genius, like trapping one in a mirror and forcing them to like be exposed to this power of the star. I thought that was really, honestly, so good. And finally, in first place, Forest of the Dead, the 9.5. This is from Series 4 and is in my opinion the strongest episode in Series 4, not of the series as a whole. I'll get to that later on. But yeah, this is just really brilliant. I love this story so much. First we have the Vashnarada, which are incredible villains. You know, like it was really scary, that scene with like the "Hey, who turned out the lights?" That was really good. The whole scenes where Donna was in that computer world and there was that person with a deformed face, I thought that was really, really scary. I don't think it's as much of a horror story as part 1. It's more focused on Donna, but those scenes were still pretty scary. It doesn't focus as much on the Vashnarada. However, River's death is an extremely emotional scene, and I don't know, I think her death scene should have come last. I know that would kind of not make as much sense to her timeline, but I think that would have made it more impactful. I didn't feel that sad because you know, I hadn't even seen any of her, and then I was quite surprised when she came back. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed this review. Feel free to subscribe and like this video, and let me know down in the comments what your ranking of episode 9s is. So tomorrow then I will be doing a bit of a different video. I'm going to be doing my first channel update. I'm going to do one of these every month, and since it's the middle of August I thought that would be the right time. So I'm just going to talk about the analytics of my channel, what's coming in the future of my channel, and how it's done so far. I will see you then, and goodbye.